Hello everybody, Jose Rodriguez back again. Let's talk about the Pro 200 and 300 from Canon. No, I do not have any of those. I have Pro 10 and Pro 100s. Yes, I have three 100s. At this point, I really have no reason to purchase any of the newer replacements for these two model printers. But let me just discuss why you should either buy one or not buy one. Let's just say that you are brand new to home printing. You have never used a printer before for producing photographs. Sure, get one, but be aware that you're going to be better off just using OEM inks, which cost a lot of money. So if you don't mind that, if you are able to afford that, if you are selling your prints and are generating enough profit to make up for the cost of ink, then go ahead and do that, because it is not a printer that is going to be easy to refill. No, it doesn't mean that they are impossible to refill. It's just that they have thrown a couple of hurdles at us. Okay, let's discuss what those are. Now, normally on the Pro 100 and the Pro 10, we have resetters that will reset the chips. And that is the key. That is the key here, folks, that we are able to reset the chips. And on the case of the Pro 100 or CLI 42 cartridges, we can modify them by drilling a hole after we remove the factory ball and fill them in that way after we reset the chip. Or the new vacuum filling method that we are experimenting with basically is similar to what the factory did initially. So that presents only a slight bit of a problem for refillers. We can reset the chip. Yeah, that's fabulous. And we can modify the cartridge. Yeah, that requires a bit of work. Or we can vacuum fill them. Yeah, that requires a special device to do that. But we can do it, and we can get away with it. Okay, and the printer has no clue what you are doing. It accepts the cartridges. On the Pro 10, the same thing. Pro 10s requires zero modification. You reset the chip, remove the clip that you should always keep, never throw these out, and with a squeezy bottle of ink and a short needle, you can then dribble ink onto the excess sponge as it is sitting on a scale, and when it reaches 32 grams or so, you have a card that is ready to be used. Okay, on the Pro 300, they use the same exact cartridge, but the chip is not resettable. So there goes our ability to refill these cartridges easily and use them. Sure, they are refillable exactly the same as the Pro 10 or the PGI 72 cartridges, but you can't reset the chip. So how are you going to continue printing after you are declared empty by the chip? You can't reset it. So the only option available is to disable ink monitoring. Well, that's like disabling your car gas gauge or petrol fuel gauge and just driving blindly. Are you going to weigh your gasoline tank to see how much gas is in it? Are you going to stick a measuring stick inside the tank every day to see how much gas you have left? Of course not. You're going to be printing blindly. So keep that in mind. The Pro 200, the same exact cartridge body, except for this one extremely important difference. The cartridges are fully opaque. You cannot tell how much ink you have in your liquid chamber. Now, in that particular case, there's a fix. You can use CLI 42 cartridges that are modified for refilling. You will have to swap the CLI 65 chip and put it on your CLI 42 cartridge. You still have to disable ink monitoring, but at least you have a cartridge that you can visually keep track of. But the problem still is there. So let's just say that you like to check weekly. Every time you remove a cartridge and put it back in and close the lid, it will run a cleaning cycle, okay, a purge type cycle. Because once you expose the print head to air, it needs to be reprimed. it might absorb some air, and it doesn't want to do that. Okay, so it will be repriming, will use up some of the ink. So if you plan to do this like every 2 weeks, I would say possibly better than 2 weeks would be once a month, and it depends on your rate of printing. CLI 42 cartridges with CLI 65 chips installed and the chip disabled. You will have to physically monitor your cartridges every month, top them all off. Simple. If you have a hole, you just add ink. Make sure you have your clip. Buy the proper third-party clips, and every month you'll have to top everything off. The same thing with your Pro 300 cartridges. I don't know what the code for those are yet. But anyway, that's it. It's just going to be a bit more, no, not a bit, a lot more difficult to keep track of your ink levels. Not so bad on the 200 because you can do that swap from opaque cartridges to semi-transparent ones. And then once a month, you'll have to check your levels and top everything off. And then you will have to disable ink monitoring after each of those chips reaches empty. So that'll probably be your OEM original cartridges. All right. Again, if you have a Pro 100 already, really, there is no need to get a Pro 200. There really isn't. Okay. The same thing with a Pro 10. If you have already a Pro 10, and you're contemplating on getting something astronomically better, like the Pro 300, really it's not going to happen. It's not going to be that kind of a change in quality. Okay? The only possible reason would be if my Pro 100, for instance, is having some mechanical problems, and I don't have a replacement for it, which I happen to have 2 of them. With the Pro 10, if something happens to my Pro 10, that's it. I'm not going to buy another Pro 10. I really don't need it. I have a Pro 1000. Okay. So that is it. Considering the fact that so many people are interested in those 2 new printers, you got to remember that if you already own a previous model, in other words, the 200, 300 replaced the 100 and the Pro 10, you may not have to get that new printer. Pro 100 with PCSE inks is extremely close to the output of the Pro 200. Okay, almost undetectable, the differences. Okay, so again, it's not something that you have to get just because it's new, just because it's available. Well, not really that well available yet. Anyway, if you are a brand new home printer, then yeah, and be aware that refilling is going to be a lot more difficult. If you can afford the ink, stick with OEM. Okay, you will love your output. I tell you, you will love it. But if you are thinking of refilling, not such a good idea. If you already have a Pro 10, Pro 100, stay with those. Take good care of those printers. They will serve you well. All right, enough of that talk. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. And until the next time, as always, happy printing, everyone. Bye-bye.